Recording. We hot. You know why you here.
Or do you?
Shit. We know why we here.
Or do we?
You are now listening to the On Topic, Off Topic podcast with your host, Theo.
Trav.
All right, so before we start, usually we do the sponsors and stuff at the end of the show, but we thought that some people don't even make it to the end of the show, so let's do it at the beginning of the show. Gilla, who is this show sponsored by, my brother?
The show is sponsored by Theo for Baltimore City Council.
That's right.
A friend today, a friend tomorrow, a friend forever. Vote for
Your mic is your mic muted. Oh wait, I got you. I got it. Hello? Say something. Test it.
No, something.
All right.
You hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Wait, say something again.
Something.
Talking to that mic.
something.
Okay. It might be, I don't know. It might be like a short or something in your joint. I don't know.
It should be good.
Now we good.
Can you still hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay. All right. So do that over. What is it brought? What's it brought to you by? What is it brought to you by?
Vote for Theodore City Council. A friend today, a friend tomorrow, a friend forever.
Okay.
Theodore for City Council. He'll fix the potholes. He'll fix the west side. You know, vote for Theodore.
That's right. No, I don't have a campaign, so write me in. You know what I mean? Write me on in there. Write me on in there.
Yep.
You dirty whore.
The East Side Savior.
You fucking dummy.
The East Side Savior, Green Mountain 33rd.
Already. But it's brought to you by Theo for City Council. What else? Let's see. Gilla, what you got going on?
Right now, what I have going on, of course, my voice acting site,
Sure.
Travis Case Voice Acts. You can go in there. You can see my promo demo, what I can do as far as promo, what I can do as far as character work.
Right.
Also, I have a Edgar Allan Poe video dropping, which will be more of just me rapping about Edgar Allan Poe. You know, one of the authors I love. You know, that's coming out soon.
Word up. Theo, what you got going on? Oh, let me tell you.
Yo, what do you have going on?
You don't give a shit. So I'm just working. You know what I'm saying? I directed, edited, and recorded a video for the Fifth L. So check that out.
Yep.
If you look up the Fifth L, the name of the song is called Black Body. It is their it is the title of their project and the single, the track. Fifth L wrote it. J Soul or I think it's J Soul or is it Black Sinatra?
Black Sinatra, yeah.
Yeah, Black Sinatra. He produced it. For the video, I directed, edited, and recorded. So, I'm sorry, directed, edited, and filmed that video. So I'm very proud of that.
Renaissance brother.
Yeah, I'm trying, my brother. I'm trying, man. If you would like to sponsor something on the show, send us an email at masondictionentertainment at gmail.com. Did I do that right, Trav? Mason Diction. I'm sorry. No, I didn't. I didn't do that right.
It's
Mason Diction ENT.
Yeah.
Mason Diction ENT at gmail.com. That is Mason Diction ENT at gmail.com. We all quarantined, so that's why we are here right now. I'm in my room. Travis is in, his place of living, and this COVID-19 thing. We don't want to make a bunch of podcasts. We don't want to make any podcasts really talking about it because you get enough of it every day as soon as you turn on any platform or any form of media, ever. Like whether it be the radio or the news or what have you, you get it on a constant basis, and there needs to be a release from it. Right. So these episodes, these quarantine episodes, I don't know why I threw quotes over quarantine because we are quarantined. These quarantine episodes is a quarantine series that we're going to do, and it's going to look just like this. So just kicking it straight off. We tried to record, I think last week, right, Gilla?
I think it was on Sunday. What
it
was it
Sunday?
like last week? It was last week.
Yeah,
Just put it that way.
Yeah,
Last week.
Last week. We tried to record last week, and you know, some technical difficulties. We ended up recording the entire episode, and it was trash. So, but it was some good stuff on there, and we kind of want to redo it and pick it up. Gilla talked about. I'm sorry, Travis talked about a topic that I didn't know that we were going to talk about, and it was exciting for me. So, seeing as though that this topic and this particular project is very, very close to Gilla, I'm gonna let him start off with. I'm gonna let you start off, brother, with you know, what you personally feel, how you personally feel about it. Like, what does it do for you? What does it do to you?
Yeah, he's a fool, yo. So I a lot of the times I think about like my favorite concept albums in hip hop history,
Sure.
and you know, like my three favorites are Good Kid, Mad City, American Gangster, and The Cool. And going back to 2007, I think The Cool came out in like December, and I think American Gangster either came out in like October or November, but around the same time. So they both came out around the same time. So I was bumping those in and out of my Sentra. And that was literally all I was listening to. Like, you know, like you was tired of me listening to both of those albums. My girlfriend at the time was tired of me listening to both of those albums. I was pushing it, you know, on 83 and 695, and I think it's Route 70 to get to Essex. And I was pushing it, getting speeding tickets at 100 and something miles per hour, listening to both of those albums for literally all of that year.
Right.
And you know, the cool for me is I don't even want to say one of the best concept albums ever, but it's like one of the best albums ever in my opinion, just because it really shows Lupe Fiasco's range.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real full album with his version of a love song, his version of stunting. You know, you got Put You On Game, where he personifies all the evils of the world, like greed, war, famine. And he becomes these things. You know, you have Go Watch, where he goes on a list, you know what I'm saying, of all the stuff that he loves. You know what I mean? Everything from Street Fighter to his book bags to the pens and paper that he uses.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Go Gadget Flow, when he's like, you know, rhyming super fast and switching his delivery, you know, like just really hitting you over the head with metaphors. And of course, The Coolest, you know, which is part 2 of Food and Liquor's The Cool, which is the name of the album.
Right.
You know.
So
yeah,
quick,
man, I love The Cool.
Do me a favor, step out of review mode for a second and give me a little bit, give me some sense memory events when you think about The Cool. Like give me some stories that involves The Cool.
I mean, one that comes to mind is where my girlfriend had bought all 3 of us tickets to go see The Cool. We'll go see The Cool. To go see Lupe Fiasco.
Shit. Hey, I forgot all about that. Go ahead. I'm listening.
And ironically, I really love chicken fries from Burger King. I literally that whole season. What was that, like the fall? I think that was like the fall because it was the fall because she bought it for me for my birthday. My birthday's in October. So in 2008, I want to say Lupe Fiasco was touring The Cool. He was just he was shredding the world up, burning the world up. And she was like, yo, I'm gonna get you these tickets. I was like, all right, boom. She was like, and I got Theo a ticket. I'm like, all right, bet. So all 3 of us going. So the night before, and I think he was with me, we went to Burger King, and I got the chicken fries, and I got the buffalo sauce. I was like, all right, man, I love this shit, man. I've been getting this shit almost every other day. And that morning I woke up, I threw all them fucking buffalo chicken fries up, man. Threw all them shits up, man. I was praying the whole day to the toilet. Well, let me explain. The concert was the next day. Lupe's concert was the next day.
Yeah.
And so I literally couldn't go because I had food poisoning.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was throwing up the entire day. I felt so bad, so disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Because I never got to see Lupe until Lasers. But the Cool is for me, is the quintessential Lupe album.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you could go see Michael Jackson tour Thriller, but you only get to see him for Invincible. You know what I'm saying? It's like you want to catch him with the red jacket and all them zippers. You know what I'm saying? Versus Invincible. So that's definitely one that comes to mind.
Oh, all right. Shit, I'll tell you one that come to mind. First and foremost, like, I gotta say, well, I ain't gonna tell you one that comes to mind. I'll just tell you, as far as just sense memory goes, like the Cool definitely, you know, I would say was your thing. Like, I remember when we were younger, and we were writing at the time, like we were writing and performing and doing the shows and shit like that. We waited on certain albums to inspire us to, you know, write. And we would tell each other like, yo, I'm waiting on a specific album from a specific artist. And we had different people. Yours was anything Lupe.
Right.
Mine was anything Kanye. So, right. I think when the Cool came out, around that time, Graduation was supposed to be coming out, right? Or did it already come out? Matter of fact, you know what?
Graduation, I think, matter of fact, Graduation, I think, came out the same year. I think it came out in 2007.
Let's see, because I don't want to be wrong, you know?
I think it just came out like first or second quarter 2007.
Kanye West, Graduation. Yup, Graduation came out 2007. Came out, September 11th, 2007.
Okay, word.
So, all right, so I was waiting for Graduation. I mean, we all were kind of waiting. I was waiting for the beats. Like, I was waiting to hear the production because, you know, back then when College Dropout, Late Registration, when College Dropout and Late Registration came out, like, as far as production goes for our generation, like, that was kind of a different vibe than what was going on at the time. So Kanye being a producer and a rapper and was dope at both of them, it was like I couldn't wait until the Graduation came out because it was supposed to be College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, and then Good Ass Job.
Right.
So the Cool came out, and I remember it always being cold. Like every day that you played that shit, I remember there was a certain season, like you said, it was like the fall, winter time that we played that joint. And I just remember it always being cold. For some reason, I don't know why, but I was always with you going over to Essex to see Crystal.
Right.
Most of the time. Like, I don't know why we all hung together. Like, it was me, you, and Crystal that hung together most of the time.
Right.
And you had two joints in rotation. Like, you had that's back when you didn't have Bluetooth on your phone, and you didn't have like music and streaming. You had CDs, and the two CDs that you had that was bumping was American Gangster and the Cool.
Right.
And I was talking, it's funny because I was talking to Mike probably like a couple of weeks ago about when you are in the mode of writing and you write something that's dope, right? And you go perform it, you're getting some love from, a couple audiences, and there's no pushback anymore, and it's no longer challenging. Like, you're kind of in a comfortable place, right? So it kind of puts you in the mindset of, I don't really need to work anymore because this project that I have or this work that I have is pushing and it's moving. And you kind of forget to create again. Because you kind of, you were kind of living off those fumes of success. Like, yo, this is amazing. You smelling yourself, right?
Right.
So I remember we were pushing like 4 tracks at the time. We pushing like 4 because we did like 4 songs after the stretch to kind of solidify the Terrapins. Because at the time it wasn't the Terrapins, it was just, you know, Prophet and Pac-Man. Prophet and Pac-Man. But it was Prophet and Pac, and we were just like forming the Terrapins. And we did 4, like 3 or 4 songs that we kind of rotated at the open mics, and we were getting love for them. It's like, yo, we killing it right now. I remember being at Crystal House. Crystal, you and me were at Crystal's house, and like that's when shit premiered on television. Like, I think YouTube existed, but like there wasn't that many videos on YouTube, right?
Right.
So you still like MTV and BET and shit like that still kind of was the honing place for premieres of videos. And I remember when we all heard Dumb It Down for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just the flow was crazy. The words were crazy. Like, yo, his pen was vicious. Like, his pen was vicious. And for me, I don't know what it did for you, and you can talk about that moment when you first saw it, but like, for me, it made me realize I ain't shit. Like, I was like, damn, yo, I ain't shit, bro. Like, I'm sitting here jumping on stage, thinking that I'm killing shit, thinking that I'm doing stuff that's really dope. And, you know, hear this, and I listen, hear this. Like, when he went off and just went, he did a whole verse of, first it was like body parts. Like, he was, you know, he just went off. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it then went into the, you know, this nigga dumb it down. You trying to be a rich nigga? Dumb it down. Like, we did our own variation of it, you know what I'm saying? And I think it was you wrote to the song. I didn't write to it because it was one of those joints where I was like, yo, he already killed this shit. There's no way in the world that I'm going to be able to compete with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be able to even write to this because I'm still thinking about his flow. Like, I'm thinking about his flow and what he's saying. It's like, now I feel like I'm in competition with Lupe. And I wasn't, but because it was just so damn good and it was so great, I was just like, shit, like, this is mind-blowing to me. And whenever I hear The Cool now, it brings me back to that moment. It brings me back to that moment of like, yo, me and Trav really used to grind out here doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would get a CD, like, it wasn't as simple as getting beats from the internet like that. Like, it wasn't like, you could get beats from the internet, but it wasn't like as simple as it is now.
Right.
Like, when we got an instrumental CD, that was an event, and you just hoped that, you know, you just hope that the instrumentals that you were looking for were on this CD. It was like a mixtape, like a for real mixtape. And I remember Dumb It Down was on it. And you got the shit. It was like, yo, Dumb It Down is on this joint. And I was like, yo, that's amazing. Let's, you know what I'm saying? And then we kind of did our own thing to it. And, you know, it was, instead of Dumb It Down, it was Crash Course. That was the name of the song. It was Crash Course.
Right. Right.
So, I might put Crash Course up. I might put Crash Course up like under the thing, just so people can hear a snippet of it. I know,
Word.
you know what I'm saying, just so people can hear a snippet of it, just so it'll go with the joint. But
word.
You know, I still enjoy Crash Course. I know that you look at old music that we've done and you look at it like baby pictures, like you don't really want to look at that shit. I still listen to it. Like, I like looking at the shit that we've accomplished. But anyway, yeah, so like The Cool touched so many people, even people that I met after, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that The Cool was so close to so many people's hearts I thought it was just you and me. And that I
Right.
think that was one of the one of the dynamic things about the Cool is that you felt like it was yours. Like he wrote it for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And depending on what you were going through, whether you were depressed or whether you were dealing with some girlfriend issues or you were dealing with some, some heavy shit at the time, because we were in college at the time, and it was like our early years of college. Well, your early years of my early years of college too, but we know where that's going. But we were still kids. Like we were kids. We were kids. You know what I'm saying? We were
Right.
kids. And there was a lot of heavy shit going on around that time. And I think for everybody who that album touched, like on a level, on like a really high level, was going through some dark shit.
Right.
Somewhere, whether it be personal dark shit, like deep down, or you dealing with some family dark shit, or some girlfriend dark shit, or some boyfriend dark shit, or some, whatever that dark shit was, the Cool was like some really dope, like black futuristic dark sci-fi shit. Like it was ill. Like it was ill as shit. It was a really ill album. And I don't know about you, but I have issues listening to it now because sometimes it brings up certain memories, and I'm just like, oh boy, like, oh my goodness, like this really was like, I'll think, like if I listen to it now, it'll pinpoint, like it'll bring back certain memories. But I think I've talked too much about it anyway. So go ahead, brother. So the reason that you wanted the episode to be about the Cool is because you discovered some new shit that you just learned. Go ahead.
Right. So I mean, it's a great conversation between Joe Budden and Lupe online. And if you know anything about Joe Budden and Lupe with the second half of his career, they were, to say they got the short end of the stick would be putting it lightly. And they were basically going back and forth saying, no, I had it worse, because Joe Budden was saying he had it worse than Lupe because he never really got to put out any real songs that he liked as an individual artist. Like he would show them to the higher ups at his record label, and they'd be like, nah. And they would stiff arm it every time. Whereas Lupe he had Food and Liquor, and he had the Cool, and he was shredding the hip hop game with both. You know what I'm saying? And then he kind of got his water cut off, And I mean, just taking people back to that time, like, he was getting kudos from Jay-Z. Jay-Z was saying, yo, this is the guy who I feel like I'm giving the baton to. Nas was like, this is the guy with the baton. Like, Lupe was supposed, in the mainstream's eyes, he was the heir apparent to the 90s boom bap mafioso, early 2000s era. He was the heir apparent. And so the Cool kind of solidified that. And just really quick, okay, so he said that he came out with Food and Liquor, and the main single that was floating that was Push. And the folks at the label, in their greed and in their genius at the same time, it's terrible genius, they was like, yo, Lupe getting all these spins off of Food and Liquor, and it's an in-house record. We have nothing to do with it. We want some of that action. So the folk, the higher ups literally flew to the woman who was the sample on Food and Liquor, bought the sample from under Lupe, and now they were getting all of the licensing money from Lupe. And Lupe was basically holed out on his own song, that he was touring. So I mean, again, that was shocking to me, and it hurt a lot because Lupe really had a plan. Like you said, Kanye was supposed to come out with Good Ass Job. Lupe's Good Ass Job was LUPN after the Cool, where it was supposed to be literally 3 CDs, where I'm guessing he was supposed to give you the New Testament and the Old Testament of the Bible and then retire. His plan was to write anime and write manga, you know, and getting to being an author. So like to see that kind of, not kind of, but to see that stolen from him, you know, it's heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? And I mean,
Sure.
of course, you see it happen to a lot of artists, a lot of athletes, a lot of musicians or whatever.
Right.
You know, but I think that the second most heartbreaking thing about it is if you listen to Food and Liquor, there's a song called The Cool, which is again the title song for the second album.
For sure.
And the Cool, you know what it's about, but just for those of you who don't know, The Cool is about a drug dealer who gets shot and killed in his own neighborhood, and he comes back as a zombie, like a zombie drug dealer to terrorize his hood, and he's angry. You know what I'm saying? So Lupe, in a way, has become the Cool. The first Lupe was killed by the industry, by his record label.
Right.
And now he's back disgruntled, discontent, disconnected, and mad as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And I would be too, especially if you had a way that to finish your contract, because I also think that was a way to finish his contract with giving them a three album, one album thing. That was kind of probably his way of leaving the contract.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, man. I mean, it's just thinking about that whole album and everything that was surrounding it. It's crazy.
Right. And I mean, I remember again, like it's easy to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get somebody who just wants to make it out there. So there was an episode. I remember there was an interview with Lupe and Sway. Mm-hmm. There was an interview with Lupe and Sway, and this was like later on in Lupe's career, and they showed like a rerun of an episode when they were going through Lupe's hood and like showing different parts of his hood and different parts of, different people that were in the hood. And then when the video cut back to Lupe was like in tears. And Sway was like, are these like tears of joy? Like what are these tears, brother? And Lupe was like, yo, it's just, I haven't seen that video in a while. And it's crazy because, hold on, bro. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait a minute. A little bit of technical difficulties. I'm sorry. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah. So, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So he was saying that he was like, most of the people that he saw in that video are dead now. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yo, like, the mentality of his neighborhood was like, you do anything to get out. You know what I'm saying? You do anything to get out. Like, I just want to get out. I don't want to be here no more. Like, I'm living in shit right now. I'm living in hell. So Lupe and just like just like a number of other people, they kind of get caught up in, they get caught up in trying to get out as fast as possible. And I mean, I don't want to say caught up, but like, it's a situation where if you see the opportunity to get out fast, you do it. You know what I'm saying? So like, sometimes it works out. Sometimes it works out. Like for Eminem, when Eminem flew out to a battle, he flew out to a battle. He just lost his apartment. Because the guy who he was paying rent to wasn't paying the rent for the apartment, and he came to his apartment and all his shit was on the lawn. So he had to break into the window. He had to break into his own room and sleep on the floor that night until the next night when he got flown out, and he was supposed to be battling for $500 and he lost, and he really needed that money. But there was a guy that was there who was like, "Yo, give me your CD." And when he gave him his CD, he didn't know that the guy who just took his CD worked for Jimmy Iovine. So I think I could be saying Jimmy Iovine's name wrong. If I am, I apologize. But Jimmy Iovine then gave it to Dr. Dre, and then Dr. Dre hollered at Eminem. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is history. But when you have an opportunity to change your environment immediately so quickly, you'd be liable to take it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, again, like I've never been, and I mean, shit, I know a lot of people who still to this day talk about getting signed. Like some people still talk about getting signed now. The wonderful thing about the newer generation is they're more about ownership for the most part. You know what I'm saying? For the most part.
Right.
But from Lupe, you know, Lupe and his generation, for the most part, the only information that was out there about being successful was getting signed. That's how you successful in this game as an artist, is getting signed to a label. It's just messed up. Like I think it's foul that these labels, a lot of these labels don't care. But if you look at the business now, a lot of these labels are being, you know, are being bled dry right now. Like the tables are turning. Sure. Because we got information now. You know, and it's cool to own your own shit. But I mean, it's sad to see. It's real sad to see. It's real sad to see an artist such as so talented like Lupe get screwed over like that. You know, and I think that, I mean, even in the books that I read now about the music business, like I remember growing up reading these music business books, and one of the words that a reoccurring word was gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? Reoccurring word was gatekeeper. You have to impress the gatekeeper. You have to do this for the gatekeeper. You have to build so many building blocks to get to the gatekeeper.
Right.
And that was the norm. And I think that, I mean, shit, even in our situation, we've gotten bad advice from gatekeepers, and you know, we either took the advice, and if it was we've either took the bad advice and then suffered the repercussions, not on the level of Lupe, of course, but we either took the bad advice and suffered the repercussions, or we was like, yo, forget all of that, and we just did what we did. Good example, I ain't gonna say no names, but I remember there was an older poet on the scene when we were trying to get features, right? There was an older, I mean, do you remember, you know what I'm about to say?
I think I know, but I'm gonna let you rock.
All right, so there was an older poet on the scene, and we asked for this person's advice, like, yo, what can we do in order to get features? Because you all around the city, you getting features, you getting paid, you getting, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want none of your money. We just want to know how to do it.
Right.
Right? So this particular poet was like, yo, y'all not even ready for no feature. Y'all got to put a couple more years in for a feature. And granted, like, it was from his, like, he's talking from his personal experience, right?
Right.
But like, we ignored that information, got a feature at a place that at least we thought was very, very hard to get a feature. And we didn't know how to even approach. And he was like, the poet was like, the people should approach you for features. That's when you're ready for a feature. When people approach you for a feature.
Mm-hmm.
So you still got to put some more years in the game.
Right.
And luckily, I ain't listened to that shit because I went to Olu Butterfly like, yo, we really want to feature.
Mm-hmm.
We would really like to feature. What do we have to do? And Olu was like, well, you know, on such and such day, can y'all feature this day?
Right.
And I don't know if you were sitting next to me or you probably was standing next to me, but I kind of looked at you like, hey, yo, all I had to do was ask.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a scheduling game. It's not a game of you got to put years and years of work in.
Right.
So luckily we didn't listen to that shit. And it's like, damn, what if we did listen to it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What if
Right.
we did listen to it? We wouldn't have had that fire ass feature that we had. Because that was a fire ass feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was always on the tip, and this is what we talked about last time. I was always on the tip of ownership. I wanted to own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I mean I don't want to be wrong in this shit. You wanted to get signed.
Yeah, I really wanted to get
Signed to like
Rockefeller.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Then Rock Nation, you know, or like Columbia or something like that. I forgot, but it was another one.
Right. And
yeah.
I didn't want to get signed as an artist. I wanted to get signed as a label.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was on the tip, and I credit this to my upbringing. I credit this to my environment, my close quarter environment. My mother being a nurse manager, and you know, being the person who other people had to go to for instructions. My father being a tour manager for certain music groups, and him kind of dropping some jewels whenever I wasn't being an asshole when I was listening. But like, I never wanted to be the person receiving the check. I wanted to be the person writing the check.
Right.
So like, and I also knew the history of thousands of other artists that had it worse than Lupe.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Motown artists, you know what I'm saying? Like, Motown artists that were going through hell, you know what I'm saying? Or went through hell.
Yeah.
Went through hell and got their rights, you know, didn't own really any of their music. Didn't own damn near none of their music. New Edition getting paid with scooters.
Yep.
You know,
Rad Force for TLC.
You know, Rav 4. I mean, not even just the car shit, but like their entire deal. So TLC's deal, and you probably want to Google this, but TLC's deal is known as one of the worst music business deals in history. One of the worst in history. Like,
yeah.
They were so upset about what was going on that they were coming out in public, like in different interviews. People were asking, like, so how do you feel? You just sold millions and millions of records and y'all are on this and that and such. How do y'all feel? And I know Left Eye was very vocal about it, and I believe T-Boz was very vocal about it. I mean, I think all of them was very vocal about it, but on the interview, they was like, yo, to be honest with you, we broke.
Right.
You know what I mean? We broke. And there's a famous interview where they're all together and Left Eye says, like, let me tell y'all how you sell millions and millions of records and be broke. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And get broke.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until fan mail came out that they started to kind of get the respect that they were supposed to get in a business sense, and they got the, you know, the financial backing and the financial support that they needed, you know, that they needed
Yeah.
for themselves. But it is very unfortunate that Lupe got into, you know, that deal. And you know, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I'm just guessing that you a kid from the hood that want to get out, and you
Right.
got your opportunity. You got an opportunity to make a certain amount of money to not only help yourself, but to help your mom and your dad to change their situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, name a black basketball player that don't talk about that. Name a black football player that don't talk about that. And they get raped all the time.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
get
Especially,
raped out of
and
money.
that, I mean, and you could teach a whole course on college sports. Literally, how
Nigga.
they keep the lights on, and they like the boosters, and that's big business. That's $1 billion business.
Bro,
You know what I'm saying?
I was
And-
listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how they make a lot of money selling jerseys. Like, yo, you
Right.
sell my number, but you got me struggling in college.
Yeah,
But you selling my merch, my nigga.
and the catch-22 is they can't accept gifts. You
Right?
know what I'm saying? So if an agent pulls up to them with like, yo, take this 5,000, take this 10,000. I'm gonna put some money on your whatever your card, so you and your girl can eat for the rest of the semester. Like, they can't even accept nothing like that.
Right.
You know, like, as a matter of fact, this also makes me think about. Go
Rules
ahead.
is changing now. Rules are changing now, and the leader of the NCAA is trying to fight against it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the rules are starting to change right now.
Yeah, yeah, and that actually makes me think about. I mean, now that we talking about athletics, Jesse Owens and Joe Louis.
Come on.
I don't know how much of y'all know about Jesse Owens, but Jesse Owens and Joe Louis were in the same Olympic when it was when Nazi Germany was in it. So I'm guessing this is like the late 40s, early 50s, and when America, you know, carried on the back of Jesse Owens and Joe Louis, defeated Nazi Germany, they both went broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesse Owens, after getting all of his medals, when he got back home, he couldn't even go to his award ceremony because he was black, number one. Number two, he died broke and was forced to race horses as a circus act for money. You know what I'm saying?
Real shit.
Joe Louis, because, again, like you said before, especially, you know, when you look like you and I, the information was not out there about ownership. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, of course it was out there, but it was like, you know, literal gates and writing to prevent you from getting that. So Joe Louis had terrible management, and he died broke and depressed in obscurity. Both of them died broke and depressed.
I mean, we live in a lot of us live in environments of fast money.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of us live in environments of fast money. A great movie to watch about this is Cadillac Records. Cadillac Records is an amazing movie that talks about, you know, it's a depiction of a true story. I mean, the name of the record company wasn't Cadillac Records, but they still use real names like Etta James, oh my God, Muddy Waters,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and a number of other people. And a lot of the people that were signed to that particular label were broke because the person who owned the label was paying them in cars.
Yep.
And wasn't paying them in money. And it's like, bro, like it's it's a vicious thing, but it's like, yo, it's real devil shit. Like it's real Bible devil shit.
Yeah.
Like I hone in on what you deem as important right now, and I know that I can make way more money just off of you. I can work you to death.
Mm-hmm.
I can work you to death. I can bleed you out and throw you a crumb.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the Lupe shit, because before, you know, when we first did this episode, when we did the other episode and you were introducing it, you know, you got a little you got emotional about it, and rightfully so. Like, you hate to see somebody with so much potential now have to live with the fact that, yo, like, yeah, he still put out music, but it's not his plan. It wasn't his plan.
Right.
It wasn't his plan to continuously do this shit, and it wasn't it's not a place that he wants to be. So like one show, and I know we kind of going all over the place right now, but I mean, fuck it, it's the On Topic Off Topic podcast. We're supposed to do this.
Oh yeah.
One show that has a good example of making some mistakes in the music business and like learning from them is the Wu-Tang Saga show on FX.
Bro, you was telling me about that.
Dope ass show. Like, there are a lot of things I did. I mean, I would call myself a Wu-Tang fan.
Most definitely.
I would definitely call myself a Wu-Tang fan. I'm not like a diehard fan. Like I know some other people who are, you know, diehard fans, way more fan, you know, fan out way more than I do.
Sure.
But I personally think that Wu-Tang is one of the greatest hip hop groups in history, period.
I mean, if go ahead.
I'm talking about groups. I ain't talking about duos.
Sure.
I'm talking about complete like groups of three or more. We're gonna go with that.
I mean,
But
if nothing else, they have one of the best brands in music history. I'll say that as well.
100%.
I mean, their brand along with is it Madlib? Is it Mad? Who wears the gladiator mask? Doom. MF Doom has a really great brand as well. Like they both have huge cult followings. But you was getting ready to say something.
But I was just saying, like, watching this show, like RZA, he wrote it. I mean, it's a really good, it's a really dope show. It's written very well, and it's but of course, if you write your own story,
oh yeah,
you know you're gonna make some things a little bigger than probably what they were.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's a little bit of that in there to hold and grab the attention of the audience. But the shit that you can't, not falsify, but what's the word that I'm
embellish.
The shit that you can't embellish is certain shit that's on paper.
Right.
Like shit that I can like Google and research, like, yo, it didn't fucking happen like that.
Yeah.
RZA and his like music deals, just first and foremost, just watch the show. Definitely watch the show. But when you think of a person like a Jay-Z who has an amazing brand, a RZA who has an amazing brand, a Eminem who has an amazing brand. Mm-hmm. Like these people who you think just did it perfectly all the way through. Nah, bro, like they fucked up some shit too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And RZA is a good example of somebody who was living in the hood, who had a responsibility, or he had that adult responsibility, that feeling of an adult responsibility as a child for his family, because him and his brother were like the only men that were in the house, and his father was nowhere to be found, like a lot of situations. But like his opportunity to get out of it, you just gotta watch the show. Like, he made some mistakes,
Of course.
and I think some mistakes you can bounce back from and work hard on it and kind of, build yourself. And then some stuff is just so wicked that you don't bounce back from it.
Yeah.
Like the Lupe situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super duper unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? It's super duper unfortunate. But I would say the positive thing about this situation is that people like you and people like me get to look at it and learn from it to move forward and not make that same mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm done talking.
I mean, and let me not be remiss to say Lupe did not have it the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned a few people who had it worse off than Lupe, but when you're in a prime position and God gives you, let's say out of 10, God gives you a 12 talent, like a hand, like a card hand. Lupe had like a 12 out, in my humble opinion, had like a 12 out of 10. And to have circumstance limits, you know what I'm saying, that rise to about maybe a 7, you know what I'm saying, when he could have been, again, like, people, unfortunately, and I think that's another thing Lupe was so angry about, the control situation where Kendrick Lamar didn't mention Lupe. And Lupe, I don't know if you remember that, bro, but Lupe was hot over that.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't mention Lupe. And again, I empathize with him because it's like, yo, you feel that you have X amount of talent and you were just screwed over by the industry. And I know he wants to be in them conversations. People in the mainstream, not super hip hop heads, but they've forgotten about Lupe in that conversation, which is tragic. You know what I'm saying? People don't even bring Lupe's name up. Right. When, in my humble opinion, like I said, I think The Cool is one of the best hip hop albums ever.
But you want to know something that's amazing though about Lupe? And I say this, like, some people do want to be mentioned when the conversation comes up.
Right.
Which, I mean, I get it. Like, I empathize with it too. I understand it. But the dope side about this is that everybody knows that Lupe is not to be messed with.
Oh yeah.
Everybody. Yeah. Like, I remember there was a time where there was talk about Mos Def battling Lupe. Everybody was waiting for it. Everybody was waiting for that. Because, I mean, Mos Def isn't, he's not to be messed with either. Like,
yeah,
this is Mos Def that we talking about. Like, he ain't, he's not a pushover. Like, he's not a guy that you going to tumble over. And we really thought, like, yo, that would definitely be a battle of the gods.
Word.
And I think Mos Def called it off. I think okay. Mos Def called it off, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Lupe might not be talked about in your everyday conversation, but don't nobody want it with him.
I agree.
Nobody wants it with him.
I agree, and also the people who should know. You know what I mean? The people who should know. And again, like I can tell in his voice, like his music. Like, and this is another thing that makes me sad about it, is because Lupe was dealing with a lot of death, when The Cool came out, you know what I'm saying, and Food and Liquor came out. But there was a contentment in his voice. You know what I'm saying? There was a peace amidst the storm. But now he is the storm. And all of his music, most of it from what I've heard, it's hard for me to listen to because that Lupe beforehand is embedded in my soul.
Right.
And so I can hear the discontent and the anger and the passion, but in a regretful and disconnected way. versus how he sounded when he had it all laid out. And it's sad, yo. It's super sad.
I think for me, Lupe is in a similar place. I'm talking about just in hip hop. He's in a similar place as Andre 3000. Like,
Sure.
Similar. Like, I think that Lupe has some, like, lyrically, Lupe is still putting out fire now. Lyrically.
Oh yeah.
Lyrically, it's insane. Like, it's like his pen is still sharp. But
yeah,
Lupe is practicing being a samurai. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's dope that he's in that place, like that he's at least he's on a journey of personally trying to find peace within himself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I like seeing that shit. I like seeing people who have been defeated by society and like the industry and everybody, and then they go and they try to find peace with themselves. Right. Like your Lupe Fiasco, like your Mike Tyson. Like, I love Mike Tyson now. I love Mike Tyson back then as well, but I really love Mike right now. Mike is super humbled now.
Right.
Super, like, he's an old man, gray beard, you know, funny as all out, funny as hell. Mike is funny, but to see Mike on like his podcast, to see Mike kicking back, smoking weed on his podcast, talking shit with other boxers or other artists, and people admiring Mike for the icon that he is. Mike created a platform to get that recognition, and he didn't create it to get the recognition, but he created a platform, and it's really just dope to see Mike as a humble dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I hope that Lupe gets there. I hope that he gets to a space where he's just humbled by the gratitude and the respect that he gets from other artists. Like, when Lupe walk into a room with your greats, like your Kendricks and your J. Coles and your and your Jay-Z's and your Nas's and stuff like that, I don't think that people turn their back on him. Like, those people, I think that he gets respect when he's in the room.
Most definitely.
I hope.
Most definitely.
But like, I think that it's an unfortunate place to be. Excuse me. It's an unfortunate place to be when you want somebody to act a certain way toward you or react to something that you've done, and they react differently, and you get upset about it.
Yo, and real quick, because I know, you know what I'm saying, we want to keep this at a certain cap, but real quick, let me, the one story I forgot about was me, Silence, and Mike were at Soundgarden at Lupe was signing stuff. Yo, was you there that day?
No, I missed it, but I know what you're talking about though. Go ahead, talk back to me.
So Lupe was signing some stuff, and I bought my cool CD with me for him to sign it. And I'm not sure who went first or whatever, but when I got up to Lupe, and again, I don't want to, we talked about embellishment. I don't want to embellish the situation, but feelings and energy doesn't lie. So I went up to Lupe. I was like, hey, Lupe, yo, I'm a huge fan. I really fanned out. I was like, yo, I'm a huge fan. I listen to the CD every day. I think The Cool is like one of the best hip hop albums ever. And he took it and he signed it. He was like, yeah, yo, thank you, man. And kind of looked at his shoes. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, I think that in that 10-second, 30-second, 20-second exchange sort of summarizes what was going on with him internally. Because I know he didn't want to release Lasers. You know what I'm saying? And let me say that signing event was for Lasers. I know lasers wasn't something that he wanted to do,
For
so.
sure. For sure. I mean, I think that is great that we're getting these personal interviews now. Like, that's dope. Like, it's not, a lot of these artists aren't putting, like, a lot of these older artists, like, yo, we kind of lucky because we do get the artists now after the deal where they
Right.
aren't committed to a PR team and all the other shit, where they have to say the right thing and do the right thing. And if you get if you ask this certain question, they have to answer a certain way.
Right.
Like, yo, the interview with Andre 3000 and
Rick Rubin
is, for me, I needed that. I needed that for that time.
Sure.
I needed it. I mean, and it just happened, not too long ago, but like, to hear who I think is probably one of the greatest MCs ever,
Mm-hmm.
To hear them say, or to hear him say, I'm not perfect, and I get scared, and I have anxiety, and I get depressed, and I don't feel creative right now. So I'm just not creating. And all I want to do is walk around the beach and play my flute and learn different chords because my melodies are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Saying the same shit that I've been saying for years and that I've been feeling for years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it kind of it puts me at ease. So you have him and Rick Rubin. Like, Rick Rubin, one of the greatest, one of the greatest producers in hip hop history, period. More credits than I would ever be able to say on this podcast on 50 episodes. Him saying, like, yo, I know what you feel, and sometimes I just want to sit in silence and be at peace. Like, I don't want the noise anymore.
Right.
I'm in a different place right now.
Right.
Bro, like, it puts me in a position where I'm just like, yo, it's not that I'm doing the wrong thing. It's not that I'm on somebody's time clock or anything like that. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in this journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, thank you to the Three Stacks. Thank you to Rick Rubin. I mean, and even in Lupe's situation, from a learning experience for me to learn. Thank you for Lupe.
Of course.
Thank God for Lupe, bro. Like, thank God for Lupe and thank God for all of the artists and all of the people who are at a point in their life where they're like, I'm okay with this. I'm fine with this.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with this. Yeah, Mike Tyson ain't boxing and knocking niggas out, but don't think that Mike ain't still got it. Like,
oh yeah, I saw that video on Twitter.
Bro,
still got it.
Mike's sidestep when he's teaching the guy how to hit the body,
mm-hmm.
and he sidesteps to the side and like those hits, like when he's just hitting air, Mike can still fuck somebody up. Like,
yeah.
But what Mike says, which is really dope, bro, is Mike was like, I never want to be that person I used to be because I'm scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times, whenever he talks about the younger version of himself, it brings him to tears. Like, he's just like, yo, like, he says that I was a student when it's a really, and we can end it after this, unless you have something else to say. Matter of fact, you can have the last word with this. But when he's talking to Sugar Ray Leonard, he's just talking to him like he's talking to him as a student. You know what I'm saying? He's talking like he still respects Sugar Ray Leonard as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? The youngest heavyweight champion of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, got the title when he was 20. That's crazy. That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
But he has enough sense to be humbled by somebody who came before him. And he's bringing him to tears, and he's just like, yo, I was a student of war when I was younger. Like I studied the greatest warriors. I studied Charlemagne. I studied Alexander the Great. I studied warriors because I was a student of war. Mm-hmm. Now in my older age, I'm a student of humbleness.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so with me being a student of humbleness, I'm scared of that guy that I used to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that guy that I used to be will fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And he killed me. So he had to die. Like, Mike dropped jewels, bro. Like, I'm trying to tell you, like, Mike in his older age, it's not funny no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not funny
mm-hmm.
no more. Like, if you sit back and just listen to him, but I hope that Lupe gets to a point in his life where he can find peace with this shit that's going on. I just hope. You know what I'm saying? I hope he can find peace.
Most definitely. I mean, I guess, just to sum it up, you know, I just think, you know, I guess I'll pose a question to the audience. You know, what do y'all think is a better concept album? Do y'all think Good Kid, Mad City or The Cool is better? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, feel free if this is on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to leave your comments or rap with us about it, you know, because I love that conversation. And I love those albums, you know, and it's just good. And I just, you know, you were thanking people. I just want to thank, you know, the Lupes, the Three Stackses and the K Dots for putting out music that changes how you feel, you know, and changes how you see the world, you know. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yo, so I want to thank y'all for listening to this quarantine episode of the On Topic, Off Topic podcast. My name is Theo.
Trav.
And we will see you later with a new topic, a new day. And we're going to get that together. I like that. We're going to see you again with a new topic, a new day, at a new time. I'll let y'all later. Peace out.